People ask us what we do with these raccoons that we catch in our traps and we get when we're out there hunting with our dogs. We sell the hides and we eat some of the meat. Real quick here, I'm going to show you how we take care of a hide. In another video, we'll show you cooking this one up. Here's a nice coon we got today. There's 3 ways to sell a raccoon. One is in the round, and that's just like this. You take this into your fur buyer, and this is exactly how he'll buy it. Now, you're not going to get premium dollar. The next way to do it is what they call green, and that is basically just skinned. And the third way to do it is to put them up on a board just like this and stretch and flesh them. And we're going to show you how to do all of that right here real quick. So first thing you want to always do is make sure you give them a good brushing. If you're going to have any burrs in there, it's going to give you problems. This is a really nice coon. We got him in that culvert, so he's ready to go. All right, let's get started. First thing you want to do, lay the coon on his back. Now, these cuts, they're very important. When I learned how to start skinning coon, I always did from the heel down across the top of the vent, from the heel to the top of the vent, and then around the vent down the tail. I just recently learned a new way of doing it, which makes my coons longer when I put them on the board. So I call this the new money cut. And what we do here is we go on the top of the foot, and we take that from the top of the foot right to the knee. And you want to do that on both sides. I usually start on the left side here. So there we go, to the top of the knee. And I would do this one. And again, you want to come across the top of the vent, right across. You want to go straight across here and meet your other cut at his knee, just like that. So he's zipped open there. Next thing you're going to want to do is you want to cut around the vent. So you do just like that. I do just kind of a little triangle, and you leave that. Next thing I always do real quick is I split the tail part way down. So just like that. So that's what you're going to end up with in your cut along the back. Now you're going to hang them up. I know a lot of you guys are probably not going to have a skinning machine like I do, so you're just going to have to hang them up, and you're going to have to do all the pulling by hand. We'll get started here. Now, one thing I want to tell you, we go around here, we got to cut around this leg. You can go like this, but that's just going to dull your knife. Hair is really hard on a knife, so what I always do is I come from the inside of my first cut around and cut it. And it usually only takes me about 3 or 4 times, and I'm all the way around just like that. So that's what you want to do. You make that cut all the way around, then you want to start skinning. You want to be careful so you don't cut holes in your hide. Now let me tell you, this is not hard. Actually, the sooner you do a coon after you kill it, the better it's going to be and the easier it's going to be. And you pull that down just like that. Another thing I always do, and I kind of forgot, is I wear gloves, but I'm not going to do it on this one. Always wear gloves. I don't know why I didn't put them on. But you guys see me screwing around with them live coons and everything in the culvert. That doesn't scare me or bother me half as much as getting some weird disease from, or parasite from skinning them. Again, do the other leg the same way. Just go around, just like that. Start skinning. Pull that down, just like that. Got the tail down to where you split it. Tail stripper, very important. Do not leave the tail bone in the coon. Just use a tail stripper. Just put it around just like that. Grab a hold of the coon, pull, strips the tail. Then the other thing you want to do is you want to split that tail. If you don't have a tail splitter, at least get a tail stripper, so when if you're going to sell these green, you can send them to your buyer with the tail strip, because he's not going to want to be stripping that tail. You're going to get docked for it. Now, if you didn't have a skinning machine like me, you would just keep pulling that hide down. Just keep going around. But this makes it quick and easy. Pull the legs out, cut them off. You don't have to leave them very long because you don't want them touching down there. Because otherwise it'll make the hide slip right there. You don't want that. This is where everybody freaks out and they get down here around the head. The first couple you do, probably not going to go very easy, but you're not going to get docked if you make a mistake, because basically the head has no value in the fur market. So now you get right here, you can see his ear. You just want to make a cut right there. Keep following that down and around. Same on the other side. You can see his ear right there. Make that cut. And right there is the ear opening. And you want to go down and around. Next thing you're going to come to is the eye and the jaw. So you just keep skinning that down. There's his jaw, his lips. Same on this side. And then you can see there's his eye. You want to get as much of that eye as you can. Like I said, I cut that one a little bit big, but no big deal. It has no value. It's not going to dock you or anything. Next thing you want to do, if you're going to be selling this to a buyer, cut the bottom lip off. I don't need it. So that's just real easy. Next thing you're going to come do is the nose. Done. That's your hide. This is what they call green. So if you're going to sell in the green, this is what you'd take to your fur buyer, just like this, without fleshing or stretching. We'll leave this hang, because we're going to do a little video on cooking him up. So we're going to go over here right now to the fleshing beam, and we're going to flesh him out, put him on a board real quick. All right, real quick here, I'm going to show you how I flesh coons. Not everybody does it this way, but I have what they call the English fleshing system. And this is an upright fleshing, so I start up here with my knife and I come down. A lot of guys flesh with a beam bent over. Man, it kills my back. I can't stand it. I don't know how they do it. This way I can do 30, 40 coons and it doesn't even bother my back. First thing we're going to want to do is turn him back inside out, just like that. And we're going to get him on the board. There we go. Get him on there. Pull this down, make sure we get nice and flat. All right. When you flesh a coon, you want to flesh him from the ears down. Don't have to worry about anything above the ears. Like I told you before, the face doesn't have any real value to it. So real quick here, we're going to get started. Make sure my knife is clean. You just want to get all of that fat and gristle off. Now when I do this and I start on the back, I always go down past the shoulders, because this is really hard. This Blue English system is a 2-knife system. Right now I'm using the sharp knife, and I'm using a cutting motion. And like this is a really nice looking hide. Definitely prime. You got nice white leather. They got blue leather on there. It means they're not so prime. Give them a little turn here. Now this cheek meat that I have here that's around the ear, we got to get that off. You don't want no rotten meat on the hide. So that's about the only thing you're going to do that's really above the ears. Now what I'd recommend you do if you'd ever done this before is trap a bunch of early season coon that aren't going to be worth a lot and start fleshing them, because you're going to cut holes, you're going to tear them, and that's okay, because you're going to do it to a hide that doesn't have a lot of value. This is going to be a really nice hide. This is a big coon, white leather. It's going to be really good. Now as we get down here and we get into by this arm, you're going to want to stop before you get to the arm. There's leg. I stop right there, because you go any further, you're going to cut a hole. This all right in here, you take a little bit more of this out, but this right here can all be done with a dull knife. This is very thin around this bottom jaw area and the neck area. So I only go and I get that little bit of meat off of there and that little bit of lip. And that's all I do right in there because, like I said, that's real thin. You can take a real chance of cutting a hole, and you don't have to because your dull knife is going to be able to get that. Same thing on this side. We'll get that cheek meat off. And you see I'm using a cutting motion and I'm going nice and slow. Again, here's that leg, so you don't want to go any further than this because then your knife's going to start cutting into there. This with a sharp knife. When you get to the dull knife, then you can just go right over the top of that. You're not going to do any damage. So that's how I start them. Now I switch knives. I get this bottom jaw area. This is a dull knife. There's no edge on here. It's just used for basically scraping. And as you can see, that all scrapes off really nice right there by that bottom jaw. You can get right down by these legs. And now we're just scraping that fat off. Oh, there was a nipple and I tore the hole. Not going to get docked too bad on the belly, but you want to try to obviously not tear any holes. And be careful of nipples, you can hear them. Should have known better, it was a sow. I'll give it a turn. And we'll come right down here. Again, you can go right over the top of that. And then you'll feel as you get more towards the back, some nipples again, as you get more towards the back, the fat's not going to roll off that easy. It's going to get a little bit harder, a little more gristly. Now we're on to the back. This is where you'll be glad that you took it down. Like I said, it gets a little bit harder. I don't get the tail right away. Just keep working my way around. Don't worry about getting under that armpit. We're going to get that in a minute. There's that. Now, let's go up to that leg. Just like that. You can see that fat that was underneath that armpit. We'll scrape that off. That's good. Do the same to the other one. A little bit of fat right there we got to get. A nice scar in there. Now for the tail. Pull it up. Get right about there. And get that fat off. Work my way down. When I get to the tail, try to get the fat on this side all the way off. When I get to the tail, I'm going to go this way, and then down. So I'm going to go over here and get that fat, and then get that fat, and then right down the tail. And then that's it, he's fleshed. Now we're going to put it on a board. This is a big coon, so we're going to put it on a big board. Slide it on there. Get it on straight. Make sure the legs are all straight. Go around to this side. Make sure the ears are straight. Come on down, tail in the middle. And we're ready to go here. Get my stapler. I use staples. You can use push pins. It's no big deal. Like that. Now, it doesn't matter anything you got past this. This is where your coon's going to be measured. And you want to bring it down, but you want to pleat it a little bit so you can make it, get it nice and full. Now, people call this stretching, but you're not really stretching it. It ain't going to pay. And we'll get his tail. It's very important that you do this tail so it dries. You don't want that hide to slip. And there's that. And see, it's nice and full in there yet. That's going to look really nice when that baby gets done. Come over to here, to there. This is what they call the inspection window. This is where they're going to look at the hide. And this is where they look at that back fur. So we're going to trim this up here, make it look nice. Because you got this flap here, you don't want that. You want it to be a nice round, just like that. Make it look nice. That's it. Put a belly board. That's what they call a belly board. This makes it so you can get the hide off after it dries. Just like that. Go out here in the daylight. Look at that. The coons are definitely prime here in Wisconsin. She's looking really nice. And that's a sow. Like I said, got a little bit of a hole there in the belly. Not much I can do. I hit that nipple. We'll kind of make sure that looks a little bit nicer, just like that. We'll put it up to dry in 4 or 5 days. Keep about 50 degrees. Keep a fan on them. Keep wiping the oil off, and you'll be able to take it out. And that's how you sell. That's a final fur. That's fleshed and stretched. So that's the last stage. Like I said, you can sell it in a round, which means dead coon, nothing. Sell it green, which is skinned. And you can sell it just what they call finished. So that's it. Thanks. Okay, we're going to do a quick video on how I prepare and cook my raccoons. If you get a raccoon from a trapper or a hunter, this is probably how you're going to receive it. You're going to receive it's going to have the head still on it. It's still going to have the feet on it, which I guess a lot of people want, because in that way you know somebody's not selling you a cat or a possum. And it's still going to have the tail and the guts in it and all the fat. So real quick, this is how I do it. First thing you want to do is take out the glands. The glands are, there's one in the armpit on each side, and they look kind of like a big, I don't know, like a brown bean. Just like that. So you want to get them out. There's one on each side of the front leg. And you don't want to cut into them, because that'll leave a nasty taste on your meat. If you do happen to cut into them, clean your knife off before you go any further. The other set of glands usually come off when they're skinned, and these did. They're usually sitting right in here, and then there's usually some right here, and but them, like I said, them usually come off when they skin. And they, same thing, they look like the little brown bean. They're a little bit smaller than the ones we took out in the front, but they usually are 2 of them. They ride like right about here. So you want to get them out. Then you want to get all of the fat off that you can. Now you don't have to go ballistic on getting this fat off of here, thinking if you leave any on there it's going to make the meat taste bad. That's just ludicrous. That's old wives' tale. So you want to do that. A lot of fat here on the back. We want to get all of that off as much as you can. Now I got one of these already prepared, kind of, so we'll just go through the basics. Now we're going to take the feet off. Just cut around the tendons, pop it, it breaks right off. Same, cut all the way around the tendons there, pop it, comes right apart. Twist on that one, there we go. Back feet, these are a little bit tougher. Get around that, give it a good twist. Twist it around, and they come right off. Next thing you want to do is take the tail off and cut this up more towards the base of the tail. And just cut through a vertebrae and it comes right off. Next thing's the head. Cut around the head, just like that. Grab it, give it a good twist, comes right off. Next thing will be gutting it. Now you want to be careful when you gut this. Don't go into your hog wild, because you'll start cutting the intestines, the bladder, and everything, and then you won't have nothing but a pile of garbage. So you can use your knife tip, get a hole started just like that. Then with your fingers, kind of pull up on the meat and cut into there. When you get to the ribs, you want to go right along the sternum, and that'll open them up. Take and cut the diaphragm away. Now reach up in there, give it a pull. Then you want to go down here. That's where you want to be careful. There's a lot of bad stuff right in this little spot. So get your knife, there's a little ridge on top of that pelvis, and you get that, and you can just, it'll break that right open. You get right in there. Alright. Then you want to take and cut around the vent, just like that. So you want to be able to pull all of this all out of here in one piece. Like I said, just take your time in this area. If you get any of the stuff on the meat, just get it out of there real quick, cut it away. That stuff all comes right out. Now, real quick, get this in cold water in case, get it all rinsed off right in this area, just in case you nicked anything. Just like that. And then go back to trimming all your fat off and everything else. What you'll end up with is this right here. This coon is basically ready to go. You might have to trim off just a little bit more fat. But overall, that's basically how you want them to look. Just like that, all cleaned out nice. Like I said, that fat, that's kind of an old wives' tale about making them taste bad. I think what it is they don't get that gland out of there. You don't get the glands out of the armpits. You don't get the glands off the back, the legs there. You'll end up with bad tasting meat. Then all I do here is I'm going to put them in the Nesco. I got some carrots, onions, celery, potatoes, a little bit of water in the bottom. Set it at 250. Secret is, cook them low and slow. Get it in there. You can add some seasoning to it. I've got some Cajun season here. I don't use much of the Cajun season because I don't like the punch that it has. I don't like all that saucy stuff. And put some seasons, like I said, some season in there. Flip him over. Couple hours. Meat will be falling off the bone, moist. Eat it just like a pulled pork sandwich, or a hot beef sandwich, or if you want, you can mix some barbecue sauce in there. I don't like the barbecue sauce because it takes all the meat away, or flavor away from the meat. But as soon as that baby's done cooking, we'll show you what it's all about. Well, we had our coon cooking in the Nesco here for about 4 hours. Had it at 275, and here's the finished results. Now look at that. Anybody who says that don't look good is crazy. The meat just falling off the bone. That's so good you'd slap your grandma.